Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? And welcome back to the predictions and breakdowns. Today we're taking a look at UFC Fight Night Robert Whittaker versus Renier de Ridder, which is taking place on Saturday, the 26th of July, 2025, starting at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because we are in Abu Dhabi for this. It is a pretty nasty fight card, I'm not going to lie. We have a pretty stacked card. We have Stephen Nguyen, who hasn't been back in a year and a bit. You know, we have Tabitha Ritchie, we have Damon Blackshear. We have a lot of good contenders in the mix. We're going to start off with the early prelims and with the main event. Let's get right into it and get started off with the early prelim opener, which was Martin Buday versus Marcus Buchecha. I believe that's his name, if I'm not mistaken. I'm probably going to sway with the side of Martin Buday. Reason being, he is, UFC caliber. He has beaten a lot of the guys inside of the UFC that I feel like, I think time and time again, I think Martin Buday's been a little bit disrespected. Even though he has lost to only Shamil Gaziev inside of the UFC, he hasn't had the best of I would say, contention when it comes to the UFC. The heavyweight fights that he's been given have been awfully easy. Chris Barnett, easy. Lucas Bredesky, easy. Jake Collier, Josh Parisian, Andrei Arlovsky. These are not super difficult fights for him. He did have a tough fight against Andrei Arlovsky where it was a split decision. Arguably could have gone to Andrei Arlovsky, I think, in my opinion. He did beat the undefeated Uran Baldiev in his UFC debut. But again, Satya Baldiev weighed in way below 222. He was taking that fight on extreme short notice a month after winning the LFA title, and I don't believe he was ready for it anyway. But we do have a Martin Buday who I think can stop the takedowns against Marcus. But again, if we do not stop the takedowns against Marcus early in the fight, we will see a round one finish, and we will see it awfully quick. The fight against Amir Alikbari, I'm not super familiar with how good Martin Buday is on the ground. I am well aware that he is used to be a CS pro. He used to be a Counter-Strike Source pro, if I'm not mistaken, in Russia. That gives me a little bit of concern because that kind of means this guy probably just wants to strike. I don't know how much fucking grappling training you do if you're a CS player. You're pretty lazy. You like to sit in swamp ass. I'm going to assume that he doesn't do a whole lot of it. He does have a Kimura over Josh Parisian, but that isn't something fucking special. Josh Parisian's a pure knockout guy. He doesn't even try to go to the ground, and if he does, he kind of gives up. Marcus Buchecha is a problem. I'm going to go with Martin Buday. I think the underdog can get it done. I think, again, anytime I've taken not the UFC caliber fighter and the guy who hasn't been in the UFC for a while and they're making their debut, it's come back to bite me in the ass. Marcus has only had 6 fights in his career. Even then, I'm going to stay away from it. He did lose to Gordon Ryan in ADCC. He lost to Duarte. He lost to a couple other guys. He did beat, Aaron Johnson's not that bad. Victor Hugo's pretty huge. It's just, I don't think he can. MMA grappling is a lot different than just grappling. If Martin Buday hits you with an uppercut, I don't know how well Marcus is going to be feeling. I guess we'll see when the time comes. But I'm going to go with Martin Buday to win by decision or knockout. I don't think he... Again, if we get to the ground, it's over. Marcus is going to choke him out really quick. I don't think Martin Buday has the technique to get away from him on the ground, but I don't think we're going to the ground. I think the takedown defense is going to hold up for Martin Buday, and he wins 29-28 on a judges' scorecards after Buchecha gets gassed later in the fight. Now, next on the prelims, Muhammad Yahya versus Stephen Nguyen. I'm a little bit hesitant to pick Stephen. I am going to be picking Stephen Nguyen. I'm hesitant to pick him because of how he's been performing inside of the UFC, but not being able to see Muhammad Yahya actually turn out whatsoever. He lost to Trevor Peek by decision. Even though Trevor Peek is literally a round 1 fighter, he could not fight himself through a round 2 and 3 to a victory, which I was a little bit questionable about. I questioned a lot of things about Yahya for me, especially his endurance, because Trevor Peek has some of the worst endurance I've ever seen inside the UFC, and he couldn't even go with him to the distance, so that's kind of a little bit pathetic, I'm not going to lie. The fact that they were both gassed that entire fight, realistically, Muhammad Yahya should have been able to piece up Trevor Peek in rounds 2 and 3, with how good his striking has been, at least on the regional scene in UAE. Cowie Fernandez knocked him out in the first round. That was pretty just depressing. Fernandez was all over him early in that fight, and Fernandez isn't even a guy who has, like, super crazy power in his hands. He's more of a kicking guy, and yet he still got dropped with a straight, gets put out, and that's all she wrote. I'm going to go with Stephen Nguyen to win by knockout. The fact that Muhammad Yaya's chin hasn't been able to hold up against, Fernandez. Trevor Peek dropped him, I think, once or twice. And Stephen Nguyen does have a knockout win over AJ Cunningham. I think that gives me a lot of confidence in the fact that Stephen Nguyen's going to be able to find the perfect shot. A lot of confidence in the fact that Stephen Nguyen probably knows that this is his last attempt in the UFC. He's been given 3 Contender Series chances, lost the first one, and won the second one by decision. Wasn't good enough, so he came back in 2023 to prove a point. And I think this is kind of the time for Stephen Nguyen to come back in the mix. I think this is the only time he's going to be given in order to be in this area. Muhammad Yahya is making the drop from 155 to 145, so that does give me a little bit of concern when it comes to the power on the side of Muhammad Yahya. Gives me a little bit of a worry that maybe Stephen gets cracked by a good shot. But I'm going to lean with the side that Stephen Nguyen and his stand-up has held up time and time again. Last time around against Jarno Aarons, he was holding himself in the first round, just got cracked really early. His mouth was pissing blood. Didn't look good for the judges, and he just wasn't able to hold up the rest of the fight. Was dropped a couple times. I think once or twice in the second round. I do think against Muhammad Yahya, though, he can make the comeback. I think this is a good turning point for Stephen Nguyen, and I'm going to go with the Ninja to win via knockout/decision, sitting at a minus, I think he's like a minus 350 right now or something, so it's probably going to be a minus 275 for that prop, because you're taking away the submission side of Stephen Nguyen, but I think the 32-year-old holds it down. But in Abu Dhabi, anything's possible. Don't let it go to the scorecards, whatever you do. Next on the prelims, Ibo Aslan versus Billy Elikana. We're going to go with Ibo, the last Ottoman Aslan, excuse me. This guy gives me a lot of confidence. He literally came into the UFC screaming, I'm not here to take over. I'm here to knock people out. And that's a fucking very powerful statement coming from a guy who's about to fight Billy Elikana. Billy Elikana looked really good in the first round against Bogdan Guskov. He looked like he had a lot of gas with him. And then he started to fight a little bit longer. And then you realize really, really quickly, Billy Elikana doesn't have a gas tank whatsoever. He has really, really good mix-up capability for about 5 minutes to 6 minutes. And then he kind of starts to fall off the face of the earth. He did beat Brian Battle a long time ago in the amateur series in Tough Enough, which is pretty impressive back in 2018. But this is a different level of power. And if you're losing to, or if you're winning against Brian Battle by split decision, if you go back and watch that fight, Brian cracked him with some good shots. Ibo Aslan's a bit of a fucking problem. Ibo Aslan holds a lot of power in those hands, and he's knocked out Anton Turkalj in the first round, and Turkalj hadn't been, third round, excuse me, he'd been knocked out in the first round before, but hadn't been knocked out again, eats that third round knockout. Rafael Sequeira, that was a little bit of a give me. Sequeira had been standing TKO'd previously, excuse me, I am wrong. Ibo Aslan is the reason why that guy was like that. But I was talking about the Modestas Bukauskas knockout. That was the second knockout in a row for. Wow, they gave him another fight. They gave him Julius Walker. What are we doing here? This is retarded. Anyway, wow, I can't believe what I'm looking at right now. Is this real life? They gave him another fight after getting standing TKO twice in a row. That's pretty ridiculous. Anyway, we're going to move past that real quick. Ibo Aslan did get choked out by Ion Cutelaba in the first round of their fight, which gives me a little bit of worry because Billy Elikana is pretty good on the ground. I'm not going to lie. He only has one submission on his record, but if you're only looking at records, it's only half the story. You have Billy Elikana, who's pretty nasty on the ground. His grappling's pretty good. His trips are pretty good. His judo's not too bad. His wrestling base is quite solid. He does have some nice double legs, some nice single legs. He does drag you more to the ground than he does just kind of lift you, which is better. But Ibo Aslan, I think, can fend off the takedown. This guy's a fucking problem. I'm going to go with Ibo Aslan to win by knockout under 1.5 rounds. I don't think Billy Elikana has the stand-up capability to hang with Ibo Aslan. Ibo Aslan's literally a guy that, when he feels uncomfortable, he's almost extremely similar to Francis Ngannou in that he just kind of wings it. Like, if he doesn't feel like he's in a advantageous position when it comes to the stand-up, he'll just fucking blitz you, and he'll just see what works. And if he gets cracked on the inside, he doesn't care. He's going to run at you, and he's going to see if he can put you out. And that has happened time and time again for Ibo Aslan. He has 12 KOs inside the first round, 2 TKOs inside the second round, and he is 14-2 with a 100% finish rate. Give me Ibo Aslan to win via knockout. Give me Ibo Aslan to win under 1.5 rounds. Give me Billy Elikana to retire from the UFC already because he just can't hang with the big boys. Ivo Oslin's got a different level of power. He is 6'3". He will tower over Billy even though it's only an inch. His frame is absolutely ridiculous. His traps are ridiculous. His shoulders look like footballs. We're going to go with Ivo Oslin to win. Now, next on the prelims, we have Amanda Ribas versus Tabitha Ricci. We're going to go with Amanda Ribas, I think. I was thinking, okay, you know what? Do I do it? Do I really do it? It gives me a bit of concern. I was going to pick... Listen, I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I was going to pick Tabitha Ricci. Even earlier, I was going to pick Marcus Buchecha before I even started talking. But it's just something last second is making me want to change my mind. I'm going to change my mind on Tabitha Ricci. Give me Amanda Ribas to win by decision. Amanda Ribas has some really, really nice in-close clinch trips. Excuse me. I'm stuttering and shit. We're just trying to put our... I had spilt a little bit of liquid on myself. We're just trying to, you know, not look like we pissed our pants. We have Amanda Ribas, who's had a couple tough losses recently since 2023. Knocked out by Macy Barber, which is pretty depressing. Rose Namajunas lost. Mackenzie Dern submission with 4 seconds to go. You're not in a good position if you're Amanda Ribas. And I'm a little bit concerned because she is the favorite in this fight when she shouldn't be when it comes down to rankings and such like that. Last time out, Tabitha Ricci did fight Yan Xiaonan, got beat up on the feet really, really bad. Yan didn't lose a round, didn't lose a second, and she was just kind of forcing the pressure on Tabitha Ricci, who couldn't stand with her on the feet. Okay, cool. Tabitha Ricci's 5'1". That's bad. That's a really small frame. I don't care if you're 115 pounds. That's really, really small. Amanda Ribas last time around was a year and a half ago, fought Rose Namajunas. She was doing a lot of good work in the clinch. She was able to trip Rose in the first round, got rolled on top of. That was a little bit unfortunate, but I don't think Tabitha Ricci has the type of knowledge in the scramble to do something like that. I think if she gets tripped, she's going down on her back for the entire round. Amanda Ribas, if she gets on top of you for a round, you're not in a good spot. Amanda Ribas, literally, she has a family gym. I think it's either her husband or her dad that's her head coach, if I'm not mistaken. You have a problem with Amanda Ribas, dude. She's kind of good everywhere. She's really good in the stand-up. Her kicks are ridiculous. She has really good spinning kicks. She has really good, high kicks, leg kicks. I'm a little bit concerned that Tabitha Ricci's not going to be able to stand with her. Lupi Godinez was able to do kind of the similar thing, just mix up the takedowns and stuff. Hurt her a little bit. She lost a split decision to her. It gives me a lot of concern that Tabitha Ricci isn't going to be able to deal with the grappling. She's not going to be able to deal with the strikes that come after the grappling due to the fact that she might be a little bit tired. And this fight kind of feels more... It feels more like a coin flip, but it does feel like Tabitha Ricci should be the favorite in this fight. I'm going to go with Amanda Ribas. She has 5 inches of reach. She should be able to win on the outside. She isn't dumb. She isn't going to just allow Tabitha Ricci to run her game. And I think Amanda Ribas gets it done with flying colors. Give me Amanda Ribas to win by decision or knockout because of the fact that Amanda Ribas has some ridiculous shit when it comes to throwing stuff up top. Luana Pinheiro ate that late in round 3. Got dropped with a really, really weak spinning wheel kick, but it worked and it put her out. So as long as it works, as long as she's putting stuff out there, as long as she's always throwing stuff, which Amanda Ribas is, she doesn't really look like she gets tired that often. Later in fights, give me Amanda Ribas. Next on the prelims, Damon Blackshear versus Davey Grant. Now, this is one that's been poking at the back of my head all week. It's been giving me a lot of questions. A lot of questions. Can Davey Grant survive? Yeah, he really can. He's a huge underdog because they don't think his grappling's going to hold up. He's 40 years of age. He's got a little bit gas in that third round against Ramon Tavares. What are you going to do, right? I thought he beat Daniel Marcos. Marcos ended up getting his ass absolutely fucking mopped by good old Montel Jackson there. The takedowns were immeasurable. And now you're dealing with Damon Blackshear. This is a bit of a fucking... This fight's an issue. This fight's an issue because he's been submitted by way worse guys. Way worse guys. Granted, this was, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Those still happened. And Rafael Assunção almost beat him, right? Rafael Assunção literally almost beat him with the grappling and the fact that Davey Grant doesn't do all too well on his back. Yes, that did happen. So, because of those facts, because of the fact that Damon Blackshear is so aggressive in the grappling. He wasn't very aggressive against Alatong Haley, and I'm not really sure why that was. I really felt like he could have choked Alatong Haley out. I really felt like if he went into the grappling, he could have put him on the ground, but I feel like he was so confident in his ability to beat Alatong Haley that he just forced a kickboxing bout and just wanted to see how he was in his stand-up and test it out. In this situation against Davey Grant, I think Damon Blackshear knows the threat is a little bit higher. I think he knows that he needs to get it done early. Otherwise, you have a problem with Davey Grant trying to build back upon yourself. And if he doesn't know that, then I'm wrong. And his coaches really need to beat the fuck out of him, because he should know how this fight's going to play out. He should know where he's going to win this fight. Excuse me, I was coughing a little bit there. Give me Damon Blackshear to win by submission or decision at whatever the number is, probably minus 205 or 215, something like that. I think Davey Grant is going to have a lot of issues with the grappling. I think early on is going to tire him out, and I think Damon Blackshear is going to look for a submission very quickly, and if he doesn't get it early, I think he's going to be able to just keep putting Davey back on his ass each round, like Rafael Senza did, basically. Give me Davey Grant to lose by decision, and if you're looking at that plus 3.5 spread for Davey Grant, I'd stay away. I don't know how this one's going to play out. I would just pick Damon Blackshear to win comfortably, seeing as I don't know how Davey's going to deal with it. And if Rafael Sanzau's taking you down, you have a lot worse things coming in your life than that. Next on the prelims, we have Muslim Salikov versus Carlos Leal. And this isn't even fucking close. Carlos Leal had a robbery his first time around in the UFC against Rinat Fakhretdinov. He got given a free fight in Alex Morono, and we knew exactly how that fight was going to go. We were a little bit worried for Alex Morono going into that fight. We knew he was probably going to get knocked out early, and we knew Carlos Leal was a real problem after all of that back knee that he has. If you see back knee on a guy, he probably has a lot of muscle over you. Muslim Salikov, last time around, did knock out Kenan Song with a spinning wheel kick in the first round, if I'm not mistaken. That was a pretty good knockout. I'm pretty sure that was the 3 a.m. card. I was waking up intermittently to watch that fight, and I needed Kenan Song to win for a lot of money. Unfortunately, I loaded back in to watch him get knocked out. Literally, as soon as I loaded back in, he was out. A little bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. Muslim Salikov over here against Carlos Leal is not going to do a whole lot. Carlos Leal is going to beat the living shit out of Muslim Salikov, and I don't think it's even close. I think Carlos Leal is going to overwhelm him with a lot of combination shots. I think time and time again we've seen from Carlos Leal, even in the LFA, that he's a very, very good multi-combination puncher. Inside the PFL, he arguably could have... I thought he beat Sadib Boussaïa, I'm not going to lie. I really thought he should have went on to continue down the PFL route. I think he could have won the entire thing. And I think the call up to the UFC is a huge deal for him, because I think he actually can do well here. I think he can actually move on to the top 10 and start having some really, really big fights at welterweight to start making a little bit of that star money, seeing as, you know, he's getting into that star mentality awfully quickly. We're going to go with Carlos Leal to win by knockout. Muslim Salikov doesn't stand a chance. He's just going to stand and get pounded on. The guy's 41 years of age. At some point, Father Time's going to catch up, and I think this time's now. Carlos Leal is going to put him out. I think it's going to be a pretty bad knockout. I think he's going to just force him against the cage, just land a lot of good shots, and just slowly wilt Muslim Salikov down until he gives up. And listen, I want him to keep fighting because I know he probably needs the money, but you're at the point where you're getting really, really old. How much more can you really take, and how many more guys are they going to give you that are that shit that you can get a free win off of? Because Carlos Leal ain't one of them. This ain't a free win. Like, Kenan Song arguably could be a free win. I'm not going to lie. You know, Max Griffin knocked him out. Kevin Jose won by knockout. Alex Morono won by decision. You know, Kenan Song's low-key shit. Santiago Ponzinibbio, yeah, he's fucking ass, okay? So, yeah, granted, that's like a free win. They gave him a bad boy in the Lion. I think the Lion wins. Gonna eat the poor Muslim Salikov down. King of Kung Fu. No more after this. Next on the prelims, Bryce Mitchell versus Saeed Nurmagomedov. We're gonna go with Thug Nasty. This is the highlighted prelim of the evening. I think this is a little bit easier to predict than a lot of people are thinking. I think a lot of people are picking Nurmagomedov because of the name. They did not see what Vinicius Oliveira proved to a lot of people, and that is Saeed Nurmagomedov does not have that good of takedown defense. He just doesn't. And Bryce Mitchell doesn't have that bad of striking. A lot of people think that Bryce Mitchell has really bad striking. Did anyone watch the Kron Gracie fight? Anyone? Because Kron Gracie, granted, he's dog shit. He is. He's fucking terrible. Danny Ige is not shit. Danny Ige is not. He's not shit. He stood toe-to-toe with Danny Ige. He was able to utilize the grappling. And when he didn't need to use the grappling, he was just beating the shit out of Dan on the feet. Kron Gracie, he absolutely mopped up. He just beat the fuck out of that guy. Jean Silva, he was holding his own on the feet. He was getting tagged with some good shots, but Bryce Mitchell was holding his own at least for the first round. He was able to stand up with him. Was able to last over 1.5 rounds. A lot of people thought Jean Silva, Lord Silva, was going to be able to put him down a lot earlier than that. Excuse me. They felt like it was going to be over a lot quicker. They felt like Jean Silva was a little bit too good for Bryce Mitchell. And that's what people are saying about this fight, honestly. A lot of people are saying Said Nurmagomedov, the stand-up's so much better. He's going to be able to stop the takedowns, and Bryce Mitchell's going to be stuck. Bryce Mitchell's fucking good. Bryce Mitchell is one of the most outspoken UFC fighters you've ever met in your life, and yet he's still one of the best UFC fighters on the roster. He's very, very intelligent. If you've ever watched any of his actual classes, any of the things where he's talking to people about his work, any of the stuff where he's teaching a class, or he's running through a drill, or he's trying to teach a report or something, he's very intelligent when it comes down to his game and what he's good at. Not very intelligent when it comes down to flat earth and stuff like that, but it is what it is. Maybe trying to create a little bit of a name for himself, being an absolute retard, even though he is one. Yeah, okay. Granted, I don't mean he is one. Well, I do mean it. Yeah, I do mean it. He's off the wagon. Okay, what do you want from me? I'm not hating on him. I think he's just a little bit dumb. All right, I think he's a little bit dumb. I think he's knock it off with the flat Earth. He needs to knock it off with the fake Hitler still alive. He needs to knock it off with Holocaust not being real. He needs to knock it off with a lot of shit. Bryce Mitchell's got a lot of problems, and Said Nurmagomedov is not the guy to be talking about that shit, being a Russian and all. We're going to go with Bryce Mitchell to win via submission or decision. I think he can get Said Nurmagomedov in a choke if he keeps playing the scramble game. Bryce Mitchell's just really, really good. He's got that American wrestling. He's got the chase. He's got the hold him down and drag him back on his ass. And that's perfect for a guy like Said Nurmagomedov. And Said Nurmagomedov, last time around, got super gassed against Vinicius Oliveira in the second round. He was breathing awfully heavy, and they barely did any work. He barely did more work than he did in that Jonathan Martinez fight, and he was absolutely gassed. Give me Bryce Mitchell to maul over Nurmagomedov. I don't even think it's close. I think he's going to win. Give me that underdog price all day. We're going to move on to the main card of the evening. If you guys enjoyed this so far, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you have not already. We're going to have to bang through this because I'm starting to get a little bit hungry. It's 8:30 at night. I haven't had anything to eat, and I'm looking to make some burgers, motherfuckers. Next on the main card, Nikita Krylov versus Bogdan Guskov. We're going to go with Bogdan Guskov. Nikita Krylov last time around against Dominic Reyes didn't look good. I was worried for Dominic Reyes going into that fight as well. I was a little bit stressed out in the fact that I felt Dominic Reyes... he had a little bit of momentum after those two wins against Dustin Jacoby against Anthony Smith, but you're going up a huge level in power. You're dealing with Nikita Krylov, who's a pure finisher. This guy doesn't want to go the distance no matter who's winning, either him or someone else. He'd rather it go less than 3 rounds, and that gives me a lot of concern when it came to Dominic Reyes. But with Bogdan Guskov, this is the type of stuff he lives for. He wants to be put in a dogfight, and he wants to be put in front of a guy who wants to swing with him. Give me Bogdan Guskov to absolutely maul the fuck over Nikita Krylov by any means necessary. Volkan Ozdemir was able to submit Bogdan Guskov early, but again, Nikita Krylov, if he gets a takedown on Bogdan Guskov, it's over. It's over. If you see a takedown at all in the first round with Nikita Krylov, you live bet all of your money on Nikita Krylov. All of it. There's not a fucking chance in the world Bogdan Guskov gets off his ass. And there's not a chance in the world that he's going to be able to reverse that position, Nikita Krylov. Not going to happen. Krylov's just too big, too overwhelming with the pressure. Not a chance in hell. But if we're having a pure stand-up war and we get to round 2, Bogdan Guskov's going to win. Nikita Krylov is going to fall off the face of the earth with his cardio. He does not do well in rounds 2. He barely gets there. When he goes to decisions, Volkan and him looked like shit. Magomed Ankalaev and him looked like shit. Glover Teixeira and him looked like shit. The longer the fight goes, the worse Nikita Krylov looks. Bogdan Guskov is very, very similar, but I do feel like Bogdan Guskov has consistent power no matter what. He does have absolute death in his hands no matter what round it is, no matter what second is left, and he kind of feels like a light heavyweight Derek Lewis, if you will. I'm going to go with Bogdan Guskov to win by knockout. I think he catches Krylov coming in. I think Krylov is going to try and force some weird takedowns in some weird spots after getting rocked, and it's just going to lead to Bogdan Guskov absolutely teeing off and just putting him down on his ass. This is the fight of Ukraine versus Uzbekistan, Russia. We're going to deal with the fact of that later. I think Krylov might win because of the fact that, you know, the fucking honor of Ukraine is literally lying on this guy's shoulder. This is literally the battle of Russia and Ukraine, and this is a little bit fucked up. I'm not going to lie now that I'm realizing it. Give me Russia to roll over Ukraine. I don't mean that in the real terms. I mean that in the fight terms. Give me Russia, Bogdan Guskov, to roll over Nikita Krylov, the Ukrainian. I don't want that to happen in real life. It is what it is, okay? It's on the screen. I have to say it. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to do? You want me to pull back? I never pull out. I never pull back. Next on the main card, Azual Mabayev versus Jose Ochoa. Jose Ochoa last time around knocked out Cody Durden, fucked up my ticket. I really thought Cody Durden as an even, or he's like a minus 125 or something. I thought he was going to be able to maul over Jose Ochoa. I thought Jose Ochoa had a lot of problems. I thought his loss against Loner Kavanaugh showed a lot of issues in the fact that he has no grappling whatsoever. And Azual Mabayev is here for very similar reasons. I think he's going to try and take him down. I think he's going to try and control Jose Ochoa for 3 rounds and see what he can do. He got a choke over Ode Osborne, and that's pretty huge. But I said the same thing about Cody Durden. Granted, Azual Mabayev is a lot younger than Cody Durden. How old Cody Durden? Like 38? 34? There you go. 34. 34 and a bit. Oh, Cody Durden was an underdog? That makes sense. That actually does make a lot of sense. I thought he was even or something. I thought I picked a bad pick. Nah, he was a big underdog. That makes sense why he got fucking knocked out. We're going to go with... damn, I don't know why I'm still thinking about this. We're going to go with Azual Mabayev. I think the grappling is just too overwhelming for Jose Ochoa. I think this guy focuses too much on knocking dudes out rather than working on his grappling. Again, I've said it time and time again, if you know how to strike, why would you not just work on your pure grappling? You're already going to strike anyway. You're going to work on the pads regardless. Why not work on some grappling? Why not get better at something that you're not good at? Well, you're not going to do that, whatever. Azual Mabayev has been working on everything. This guy only has 3 losses in his career. 2 of them are really, really early on. 1 to Tyr Ulanbekov, who's absolutely nasty inside of the UFC right now. And 1 of them to Manel Kape, who was kind of cheating in a couple of those shots. And I think he hit him in the dick. And Azual Mabayev went down, if I'm not mistaken. Or hit him in the eye, or scratched his eye or something. It was something weird. Manel Kape ended up getting the knockout anyway. But I think Azual Mabayev in this instance against Jose Ochoa, this is a huge step up in competition for Jose Ochoa. This is a guy who went from the LFA to Loner Kavanaugh to beating Cody Durden, and all of a sudden you're in the top 20. No. We're going to go with Azual Mabayev to win by submission or decision. I think Jose Ochoa is going to experience a world of pain on the ground. I think he's going to experience a different level of grappling that he's never experienced before, and I think he's going to start to train jiu-jitsu right after this. Next on the main card, Shara Bullet Magomedov versus Marc-Andre Barriault. We're going to go with Shara Bullet. Marc-Andre Barriault has been knocked out by some goofy-ass people, and every single time it's some goofy-ass knockout. Joe Pyfer overhanded him and put him out cold. Dustin Stoltzfus overhanded him, put him out cold. Chidi and Njokuani overhanded him, put him out cold. It's always like these big... And by the way, it says right hook for Dustin Stoltzfus. It was basically an overhand. These guys were like swinging weird, and Dustin kind of went like that and chunked him and put him out cold. I'm going to go with Shara Bullet Magomedov to win by knockout. Shara Bullet, when he does fight most guys, he does find a way to win by knockout. Michael Olajejczyk was the only outlier in that one, and that's because Olajejczyk, you know, he stands and bangs with a lot of guys. He doesn't get knocked out that easily. Olajejczyk is a guy who's been a very, very good striker for a very long time inside the UFC. Granted, I don't think anyone knows this actually. Michael Olajejczyk, low-key, is a UFC vet. This guy's been inside the UFC since 2017, fighting the likes of Khalil Roundtree, you know, Gian Volante, stuff like that. He was the Thunderstrike Fight League champion. I think this is, what, Russia or something? Or Brazil? I'm just going to double... No, Poland. Great. I was close. Close enough, anyway. Not bad. Not bad for Olajejczyk. We're not talking about him, though. Shara Bullet Magomedov is going to win by knockout. Marc-Andre Barriault just gets caught in really weird situations. He doesn't deal well with kickboxers. He doesn't deal with guys who wants to get into super fucking nasty situations. And when we're in close quarters, Shara Bullet Magomedov is very, very, what's the word? Creative. He loves to throw spinning stuff. He loves to throw elbows. He loves to throw spinning back fists. He'll throw anything in range to try and put your ass out. He threw a double spinning back kick, or a double spinning back fist against Armin Petrosian to put him out. I think he can do something similar against Marc-Andre Barriel. Barriel kind of keeps his hands a little bit low when we're in the pocket. He tries to bang with guys a little bit too much. And I think we're going to get caught here. Give me Sharabullet Magomedov to win by knockout or decision. Due to the fact that maybe we'll go distance, maybe Mark surprises me and just mans up for a fucking night and just decides to go distance like he did with Chris Curtis. I don't know. We'll see. We're going to go next to the co-main event of the evening. Again, if you guys did enjoy this so far, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you have not already. I do these every single week, and I do a live companion every single Saturday. We also get you out a betting talk by Thursday so that you guys can get some props, parlays, and the 4 best bets every single week. Now we're going to take it on to the co-main event of the evening, Petr Yan versus Marcus McGee. A lot of people taking Marcus McGee this week. A lot of people taking Marcus McGee by decision. They feel like the 10-1 older UFC fighter can make a run at a title, and I'm here to tell you that is wrong. A Jonathan Martinez win and a Gaston Bolaños win should not indicate anything to you. It really shouldn't. Genuinely, I'm going to be very, very honest about this. We're dealing with a Petr Yan who used to be champ. This is a former champ. We're dealing with a Petr Yan who's younger than Marcus McGee. We're dealing with a Petr Yan who has beaten the likes of Corey Sandhagen, Song Yadong, Davison Figueiredo, easily, by the way. Merab Dvalishvili, I mean, he had a tough fight against him. He lost. It is what it is. Split decision against Sugar Sean O'Malley, which I thought he won. A split decision against Aljamain Sterling for the title, which arguably I thought he won. A lot of people felt like Aljamain Sterling clearly won the last 3 rounds, controlled it very well. I beg to differ. I think Petr Yan won one of those last rounds there. The illegal knee against Aljamain Sterling early on, that is very, very unfortunate. His coaches were screaming at him to throw it. They were screaming at him the whole time to throw it. He threw it even though he was winning the fight. Ended up costing him the championship. And now we're back with Marcus McGee. After a couple years of losing the title, he's on a 2-win streak now. 2 of them inside the 2024. Now we're having our first bout of 2025. And people think Marcus McGee is going to come over and just upset. No, not going to happen. Give me Petr Yan to win by knockout or decision. I don't think it's even close. I think Marcus McGee is going to get a huge wake-up call. I think this is a huge step up in competition. I think this is a little bit too much. I think Petr Yan in this situation is going to overwhelm Marcus McGee with everything. I think he's going to realize that there is a different level of boxing in the UFC. Petr Yan is fucking nasty. At 135, he's an absolute issue. Marcus McGee has not had some guy like this in front of him for an entire fight, and I'm a little bit worried that Marcus McGee is going to get tagged quite bad. He had Jonathan Martinez in front of him, but Martinez is still starstruck after that fucking what's it called? The Jose Aldo fight. He literally stood in front of Marcus McGee and didn't really do a whole lot. I'm not sure why. It is what it is. But give me Petr Yan to beat Marcus McGee in just overwhelming fashion. Give me him to just teach him a lesson. The Maniac is going to have a big upset here coming with the fact that he's going to lose his win streak. He's on a 6-fight win streak, 4 inside of the UFC, 3 of them being quite easy. I'm not going to lie. Gaston Bolaños is quite fucking easy to beat. Cortavius, I mean, listen, Quan Lee choked him out. Cold, by the way. Like, out. Boy wasn't even tapping. Petr Yan is pretty good on the ground, too. He has nice judo. He's thrown guys to the ground before. He controls guys well. He would rather be up and striking, but he can do it all. He is high-level championship caliber, and I think this is going to only put him closer to a title. Give me Petr Yan to win, and it's not even close. We're going to move on. We're going to talk about the main event of the evening now. I don't need to say it again, but please drop a like, subscribe if you want to. If you guys can, drop a comment. It helps me with the algorithm. Let me know who you guys are fighting with this week. Fighting with, picking with, whatever. I can't talk. We all know that. Just put in the comments who you guys like this week. I want to take a couple of picks from the comments, maybe put them into a parlay, maybe see if we can get them all together and see if we can make some money this week. Who knows? Robert Whittaker versus Renier, RDR de Ritter. Give me... Listen, there's a couple problems with this fight. Renier de Ritter has shocked me time and time again. This guy lost to Antoine Malakin, whatever the fuck this guy's name is, and then he just comes in, torches up Kevin Holland, torches up Bo Nickel. Now we have Robert Whittaker, who doesn't do very well on the ground. I'm not gonna lie, he just doesn't. He's never really done that well on the ground. He's been finished by high-level contenders at this point in his career. And now you're getting given Renier de Ritter at another underdog price. He hasn't lost inside of the UFC yet. He's only looked better each fucking fight. I don't even know if Bo Nickel won the first round against him. I don't think he did. I'm pretty sure he lost. I'm pretty sure Renier de Ritter won both. I'm a little bit concerned with the fact that Robert Whittaker doesn't deal well with taller guys. I'm a little bit concerned with the fact that every single time Robert Whittaker gets inside that cage, and it's not against a guy who's, who we're questioning himself, like Paulo Costa, Ikram Aliskerov, Marvin Vettori. We already knew about Hamza Chimaev. We already knew about Dricus du Plessis. We already knew about Izzy. We were pretty confident on those fights. All the fights that we were a little bit concerned about, Ikram Aliskerov, Paulo Costa, Marvin Vettori, he wins all of those. This fight, I'm pretty fucking confident Renier de Ritter is going to knock this guy out. I'm a little bit concerned for Robert Whittaker here. I'm concerned because this is high level, one championship. This is double champ status, if I'm not mistaken, right? Am I wrong here or something? Nope. Heavyweight championship. What did I miss here? That's light heavyweight. That's heavyweight. Yeah, he was double champ. Renier de Ritter was fucking double champ at light heavyweight and heavyweight. This dude just moved down to 185. He's trying to win the UFC title. That is fucking ridiculous. I'm not going to lie. That's fucking ridiculous. Give me... I don't want to do it, guys. I'm really bad with main event picks, by the way. I was thinking Robert Whittaker all week. I was thinking Robert the Reaper. He's going to show up Renier de Ritter. He's going to tag him against the cage. He's going to hurt him bad. He's going to crack him with something crazy. He's just going to teach him a lesson against that cage. Robert Whittaker, a nasty striker. Always been a good striker. Always been able to find some good strikes. And whenever he does hurt some guy really, really bad, he always throws that wheel kick in there. Tries to fucking just put guys out. Give me Renier de Ritter to win by submission or knockout. I think Renier de Ritter is here to make a statement. I think this guy's trying to make a trek at 185. I think this guy's already on a trek at 185. Gerald Mearshart, Kevin Holland, Bo Nickel, 3 in a row, 3 by finish. And I think one more to add to the mix is not that far off the bandwagon. It's not that far off the shot. It's not that far off the tape. Give me Renier de Ritter to win by any means necessary. Robert Whittaker, I think, is going to have a bit of an issue when it comes to the mix-up capability. If he gets taken down and put on his ass, Renier de Ritter is just going to slam into him, and he's just going to eventually choke him out. And that gives me a lot of concern for Robert Whittaker, especially because he's only been choked out once in his career. That was very, very early on. But who has he fought that's a very, very good grappler? Who? Darren Till? Sure. Calvin Gastelum? Sure. Calvin Gastelum's fucking overweight. Darren Till was on the way out. Like, what do you want? You know what I mean? Like, realistically, he's never really fought a good grappler. This is the first time he's going to fight a really, really good grappler, and I think Renier de Ritter is going to surprise him. Give me Renier de Ritter to win as a plus 150 underdog, and that sums up the entire fight night. UFC Fight Night, Robert Whittaker versus Renier de Ritter. Done. Dusted in the books. That's all I got for you guys today for the predictions and breakdown. Hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you have not already. I'll see you guys either tomorrow or the day after. I'm going to try and do tomorrow because it is a good day to do it. We're going to try and do tomorrow for the betting talk, episode number 30. We're going to take a look at UFC Fight Night. Again, Robert Whittaker versus Renier de Ritter. Just take a look at the 4 best bets, the props, and the parlays for each of the fights. And again, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys did enjoy. I'll talk to you guys all later. Have a fantastic evening. Peace.